Hey everybody, Mah-Dry-Bread here, and I'm excited for this one. I'm here to teach you what you should be doing in the first hour or so of playing the modern version of Haven and Hearth. I've been playing this game for a little over 11 years now, since the game was maybe about a year old, and I used to make tutorial videos on it a very long time ago, and I'm back to it now. So I want to show you a more updated version of my old video on kind of what your first hour of gameplay looks like. I have a whole lot of notes on the side that me and my village all put together of things that'll be useful for you to learn, and I'm going to be following this up with an entire series that you can find in the playlist section of this channel, where I teach you all kinds of more specific things, as well as showing you a 7-day series on how you could start this game as a completely fresh player with no friends to play with as a hermit, and make your own settlement slowly over the course of about a week. But first, it's time for the first hour of gameplay. For the sake of this, I'm not going to be using any custom client, although we'll be talking about those later in the video. If you want to play alongside me, just boot up your game now. I'm going to go ahead and hit new character, but if it's your first time playing, it'll bring you right into this screen anyway. Here we are. Oh, falling star. I think that's actually a completely random event. Kind of funny that'd pop up during the tutorial of all places. Okay, so you start off as this little sprite. All you have to do is follow along to the top right, and the game will give you little bits of instructions on, here we go, Haven and Hearth. It's little pop-ups that give you little bits of, not exactly story, more so just a feeling of what the world is like. First important choice here, left path is female, right path is male. I don't think you can change this later, although every time you die, you could change it. If you pick the wrong one, you can go to your options menu and you can log out and just log back in and fix it. You'd be surprised how many people accidentally pick the wrong one. It's pretty funny. This whole tutorial zone we're in right now, by the way, is, I believe, the only safe place in all of Haven and Hearth. It's the only place where nothing can kill you, as far as I can think of. I can't think of a way to die here. Maybe there is. We're gonna right-click on this pool here. This is where you pick what you look like. If I just scroll wheel in here real quick. How do I want this tutorial character to look? Well, I kind of like the monk haircut. Hair color. Let's get a droop stash. Oh yeah, that's looking great. We're gonna roll with this. It doesn't matter, it's all vanity. This is actually a very small section, but there's a surprisingly large amount of things you can do in this tutorial section, so I'm going to try and teach you how to make the most out of this. It's like I was saying before, this is the only place in the game you're totally safe, so let's make something out of it. First, we can right-click to talk to the wizard. What is your name? Traveler. Whatever you type in here is your character's true name, but you can change your presentation name, what people see you as. So more than anything, this name is for you. You can have multiple characters, and this is so that you can tell them apart. So I'm going to go ahead and tell him my name, which is Mah-Dry-Bread. Cool, and you just hit enter. You can see in the bottom left, we have like a little quest pool thing down there, right? I apologize if things might be a little bit small for you. I have a really big monitor, but I have changed the UI scaling a little to hopefully make it easier for you to see. Maybe not if you're on a phone, sorry. It now says burn in the fire. So what that means is we can right-click on that campfire, and we'll walk into it, and that will spawn us into some random place in the greater Haven and Hearth world. That coffee is delicious. But there's a lot we should do here before you go into the fire. First of all, a lot of you might be checking out this game for the first time because a new world is dropping, and you want to play with friends. Well, what you do, and I'll show you more in the series how to do this later, but also in this video, this totem right here in the tutorial zone, if you right-click it, it asks you to enter the secret spawn for where you want to start your adventure. If you have another friend already in the world, they can build a wilderness beacon, they can light that beacon by right-clicking it, and they'll type in a password. And for 1 hour, if you type in that password that they type in at this totem, and then you walk into the fire, you type it in here and you hit enter, then you will spawn wherever that wilderness beacon was built. And that's how you play with friends. But I'll be showing you more of what the other side of that looks like later down the line, if this is a little confusing. Now, a core part of Haven and Hearth, we're going to go over to your character sheet here, which is Control-T, but all the buttons I'm talking about are in the bottom right. I recommend you learn the hotkeys, but it's not necessary. This is our character sheet. This is everything we need from our base attributes, which you get through eating food. Abilities, which are like skill points, you get that through learning points, which you will be learning a lot about this episode. Lore and skills, where you learn how to unlock different things that you can do and that you can craft. Martial arts and combat schools, which is out of the scope of this video. You will not be fighting in the first hour of the game. In fact, that is one of my cardinal rules. Don't fight anything you see until you've leveled up your combat stats a decent amount, and I'll be showing you how that works as the series goes on. Right now, you are essentially useless in combat. Don't worry about it, just run away. Health and wounds, we don't have any. Quest log, all we have is this tutorial quest right now. So to get learning points, this is a big core part of the game, is getting learning points and eating food to get attributes. Learning points, right off the bat, you get from two different things. Curiosities, which you study in your study report, and it takes real life hours, and it continues to study even when you're offline. And we also have learning points. You get learning points you get from the studying. You also get from discoveries, is what I'm trying to say. The first time you craft anything new, or you pick anything new from a raw source, you'll get a lump sum of LP, and I'll show you what that looks like. If I just right-click on a tree, I'm going to take my first branch. I'm going to hit Tab here to open my inventory so we can see it. And you'll notice it plays the Zelda you opened a chest noise. I don't know why. I think it's just a holdover from how this was a very small indie game. Okay, it's still a small indie game. But, but 12 years ago, it was a really small indie game. And that is the sound effect they used. Branches used for all kinds of things, but don't go worrying about that too much right now. What we care about is you want to pick one of every natural thing because you get a discovery. The little, you know, rubbing sticks together and a fire appearing above our head. It's kind of like a light bulb going off, you know? We'll take some brow, I think it's pronounced, no, bow? Bow? I think it's bow. And a cone. So we just took one bit of everything from this spruce tree, and we got LP for that. If we open up this menu, we have 540 LP, which is already not bad. Now I'm gonna hold Control and left click to drop these things either than the branch. This is all things I could grab back very easily. But I'm going to hold on to the branch because I'm going to be using it soon. Now, a unique thing about this game, you'd think that, okay, you picked all that stuff, okay, you're done with trees. No, you're not done with trees. There's like 50 kinds of trees in this game, and a lot of these things are unique. The branch, like for instance, this is a different tree. I forget the name of this one. The branch, the bark, those are probably going to be the same. The cone will be different. That's a pine cone. There we go. So that's a pine tree. And because the cone is of a different tree, that was worth its own discovery. I think you see where I'm going with this. There's going to be a ton of trees and bushes and rocks of different colors and shapes and kinds. There's so much little variation. There's 1,000 shrubs. You can see these shrubs. We can pick a berry. We can pick a berry from this one. I guess those are the same kind. Yeah, I got the same kind of berry. Bittersweet nightshade berries, okay. Is this the same kind of berry? Yep. What about if we pick a catkin, which is like a pine cone? Okay, that's a willow tree. Shoutouts to my buddy Willow. There we go. Okay, got all kinds of stuff. Oh, and this is like a message stone, a rune stone. I don't know what that says. I don't know. Swedish, maybe? Maybe it's Swedish? It's a Swedish game, but I don't know. I don't know what that says. Oh, and there's a little poppy flower someone left on the gravestone. That spawns there all the time. It's just aesthetic. Picking that up won't give us a discovery because we're picking that up off the ground. It's already been harvested. If we were to be picking that up from, like, picking it out of the ground, right? Like, harvesting that would be a discovery. Now, you might think, okay, you grabbed all the things you can see on screen here. That's probably about the end of this area. Nuh-uh, it's not actually the end of this area because there's more we could do if we want more LP. Why? Okay, so if we go down here in the bottom right, we have all these little icons here, right? Like adventure, these are little things we can do. We can look at Haven on Hearth, where we can light a hearth fire and travel to our hearth fire. You don't know what either of those mean yet, but I'll be teaching you over the course of this episode. What I will teach you is travel to your hearth fire here. I like to hotkey that. Most players do. I'm gonna drag that onto 0 because it's something I don't want to hit by accident, but you need that. That's a panic button. That's for your own safety. I also like the light fire thing under smoke and fire. I quite like having that hotkeyed somewhere. Doesn't really matter too much where. It's just an action you're going to be doing a lot over the course of the game. I also really like lift action. I like that on 3, usually. And drink. I guess I'll put that on 2 maybe, but I might change that later. You can easily drag these around and change them later. And if you use a custom client like Ender Client, which I'll be talking about later, and I do highly recommend, you'll have a lot more bars where you can put hotkeys, including like the F keys if you want function keys. So, what's our LP at? First of all, drop these. I'm just gonna keep the branch. And our LP is at 840. So what we can do here is we can start getting a few skills. And I recommend you unlock a few of these before you leave the tutorial zone, just because once you're out of the tutorial zone and you're in the world, then there's danger. And if you're playing the game in the first couple weeks after a new world came out, there's a lot of danger because it's very, very high activity whenever a new world drops, which is about once a year in this game. So you want to have some of this stuff done ahead of time. What we're going to do here, do we start off with a dig ability? I don't think we do, or else it would be in the adventure tab. Okay, we don't. That's something you unlock through skills. Okay, so the first thing we're going to pick is foraging. You see it only costs 25. Now, it doesn't tell you everything about what you get with these skills. You can go on the wiki for that, Ring of Brogdor, I believe it's called. I was pronounce it wrong. I'll put a link to it in the description of the video, though, because that is the official wikia for this game. It has all the info. Okay, it doesn't have all the info. Some of it's a little out of date. It has a lot of the info that you're going to find very helpful, including teaching you what skill you need for each thing you're trying to make. We're going to take that, and you can see we now have so many more skills available. And in our bottom left, we have a new quest here, Beginning of Foraging. And it's a lot of little quests it wants us to do. I do recommend that you do these because when you complete these quests, you'll get a lump sum of LP. And later in the game, that LP is probably not going to be very important compared to studying. Studying is the main form of LP as the game goes on, but this will still be useful. Now, we can see we've unlocked a lot of extra things here. There's a few things that we really want to take early. One is hunting, because you need hunting to even just run and catch a small animal, like a squirrel that doesn't fight back. So we are definitely going to be taking that right away. We can see we got beginning of hunting, catch a squirrel, rabbit, hen, stuff like that. I'll be teaching you all kinds of that stuff as we play. Firecrafts is pretty cheap, and we'll be taking that because that teaches us how to light a fire. Very important. I'm going to shrink down that menu. You can drag this, by the way, this chat menu. I usually have it a little bigger on my other file because I'm in a village, and, you know, village chat's fun. Okay, we don't need all of these or anything right now. A lot of players get very tempted to go spending all their LP on these skills first. In reality, you want a few core skills, but you really want to spend on abilities early. And 2 abilities in particular. Let's get lumberjacking, because lumberjacking, very important. It's how we fell trees. It's how we make a saw is lumberjacking. That's carpentry, but you need lumberjacking to get to carpentry. Which carpentry? Right here. We'll probably be taking it soon-ish. We're going to look at abilities, though. If you look at the bottom left, you see there's a mini-map. You're going to be looking at this mini-map a lot of the game, which is why you might want to scale your UI to make it a little easier for you to say when you're playing, depending on your size of monitor. You're going to see icons all over this map of nearby things you can forage for. What you can find when foraging, which are great items, is determined by multiplying your perception, which is a base attribute, and your exploration, which is a skill or an attribute that you get, or ability rather, sorry, these terms are very interchangeable, that you get by spending your LP. You can see I can mouse wheel here to make it go up and down. And at 3, it would cost me 500 LP to bump up to level 3 of exploration. What you want to get early on in the game, and this is very important, you want to get to about 5 in exploration and in survival, in whatever order you want, and then get to 10 in each, and then get to 15 in each. And you probably want to do that before you spend a single point in anything else. Why? Exploration determines what you can find, and finding things gives you more LP, so obviously good. Survival is what hard caps the quality of what you're finding, which I'll have to show you soon. So why are we over here? So what I want to do is get the skill that will allow me to dig. Why? Why would I do that now when we really don't need to be digging right now? Well, I will show you. I believe I need landscaping. It's definitely landscaping. It wasn't landscaping. I should have double-checked this. One moment. I double-checked. It was pottery. You wouldn't guess that, right? There we go. It's pottery. There's no harm in getting landscaping early, though. It's not a big deal. Okay, so now that we have that, here it is. You can see dig right here. If we dig in the water, what do we get? Why, we got ball clay. You can get this in any shallow water. Don't worry about drowning, by the way, right now. You can see you need the swimming skill to cross deep water. It just won't let you go in. And this is when I teach you one of the cardinal rules of New Haven. Don't swim. Don't swim until your stats are way, 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 way higher than this. In fact, just don't swim in the whole first week of playing. You'll die. Most players' first death in this game is trying to swim across a small river thinking that they can. They can't. Or they die from getting mauled by a boar or something. Don't be that guy. Okay, next, we have the clay. We can just drop it right away. If you hover over things, you can see the quality of them, 10. You can also toggle for it to be on just the icon itself so you don't need to hover over. I can show you that in a minute. But we also want to dig on the ground. We've already dug clay. Let's dig a little soil. Now, if we want... Oh, I didn't even know this would be clay on this path. I actually didn't know that clay would be there. That's funny. Let's dig on the... Let's dig on the ground here. A and then D is the hotkey for dig if you're at the default menu here. There we go, soil. Now, if we keep digging, we might even get earthworms. Now, that would be its own discovery. You can see as we dig, our stamina bar on the top left, which is our blue bar, is slowly depleting. It would deplete slower if we weren't digging with our hands like a savage, but we don't have a shovel. Is it necessary that you, playing alongside me, dig until you have a worm? No, not really. It's not really a big deal. It's not going to make a huge difference. But if you playing at home want to min-max a whole lot, yeah, you could do this. In fact, if you really wanted to spend a few hours in here, you could dig up enough clay to build a whole kiln, light the kiln with clay in it, and make a bunch of pottery stuff, including like a ceramic knife if you wanted. You'd get a little more LP for it. It's really, really not necessary, but you can do that. Now, I want to teach you about toggles. Now, where did they move that to? Here we go. Adventure, toggles, found it. These are things I often forget about because you only turn them on once per character, but you will need to turn them back on every time you die and come back. Okay, so display quality on items. I like having that on so I can quickly see what the quality of each item I'm holding is. I also like automatic stacking because a lot of these items can be stacked together. I think soil's up to 5, yes. So if I grab something by left-clicking it, and then I right-click it onto another thing of the same kind, I can stack them together. How much each thing stacks is dependent on the individual thing, but a lot of things stack, so I highly, highly recommend turning on quality on items and automatic item stacking very early. Probably before you, I'll turn on tracking as well. I like to hotkey that sometimes, but I'll talk about that another time. Tracking's not that important. It's for when people commit crimes on your land. What is... Oh, just a little graphic thing. I thought I saw something moving. Okay. Now, I don't want to dig forever for a worm. I don't want to do anything crazy like that. Let me just double check my notes here. So if you wanted to get all the LP you can from this area, everything I've been able to figure out that gives you LP in the tutorial zone is, here's your checklist, branches, bark, bough, soil, worms, river clay, that ground clay that I found earlier as well on the pathway there. Berries, there might be a tree if you go far enough that has leaves. I could be wrong. But I do believe that might be everything. The last thing before we step through the fire, and I don't even know if I'm counting this first 20 minutes as the first 20 minutes of gameplay, I'm gonna be honest. The last thing we need to do before we step in the fire is I need to tell you what our strategy is. Now, I'm recording this at the end of an old world. It's not very active. So hopefully things will go smooth, but I really recommend this. When you walk through the fire, you're gonna wanna pick one cardinal direction, and you're going to continue to go in that direction you're going to be finding little exploratory things along the way. Like, you're going to be exploring, you're going to be grabbing discoveries, you're going to be going off the beaten path a little bit for things here and there. Obviously, it's not literally going to be a straight line. You're going to have to go around obstacles and stuff. But you're going to pick one general direction and always trend your movement towards that as the bigger picture. Why? Because you're going to want to walk several hours away from the spawn location before you find somewhere truly unpopulated and safe. If you're going to be playing as a hermit, or you're going to be playing with a few friends in a small group, you really want to be away from any spawn zone in the game. They're dangerous. You will get robbed. You might even get hunted by griefers or high-level raiders who like picking on new players, and there isn't anything you're going to be able to do about that. So the best thing you can do is walk in one direction until you haven't seen any signs of human life in quite a while, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, as soon as I step through this fire, we're in the danger zone. I'm going to be teaching you as we go. I have all kinds of notes. Let's do this. Now, if I wouldn't get declaimed doing it, I would have played Into the Fire by Dawkin. I already see a boar on our mini-map there, by the way. You see him up there, top right? Oh, he just walked out of our sight range, okay. Okay, yeah, we don't want to mess with him. So this little fire here, this little green fire here, oh yeah, I have my camera set to that, I forgot, is a hearth fire. Yeah, if you zoom in enough, you can, like, adjust the camera in small increments, but if you're zoomed out, it snaps to 45-degree angles. Now, here's something really, really important that a lot of players don't know right away when they start playing the game. You see how there's this little arrow? That arrow on the map is where we're facing. You may say, MDB, that's not where you're facing. The arrow's pointed down, but the character's pointed down and to the left. I know. This whole game is on a 45-degree axis, and it will drive you nuts. If you use a custom client, you can change your camera options and you can fix that if you want to, but it's just something you get used to. If I click up on the map, you can see I'm walking up and to the right. North is top right, south is bottom left. You have to remember this. If you Control A, you will get a full map of the area you're in. In fact, you can see I spawned immediately next to someone's village. Someone made a village here, random spawn, and you can see it looks a little decayed and frayed around the edges. Yeah, things probably didn't go well for them. That's amazing. I actually know this spawn area because of my other character. I've been here before. That's really funny. Well, I'm gonna start walking in one direction. So here's the thing. You inherit your map across multiple characters. You know what? Well, I talk to you. Let's start picking random trees and stuff. Random little bits and bobs of things so that we can start getting our LP. This is kind of what you should be doing at the beginning of the game. Try to pick something from each tree. You know, like a seed or a cone or something. Now, birch trees here, you want the bark. Birch bark is useful for a few things early on. And some areas don't really have a whole lot of birch trees, so you gotta keep an eye out. You'll notice there's also stones all over. Well, we need to chip a stone, which your first stone you chip is kind of slow, because you don't have a tool. But we're gonna chip a stone here. Here we go. And we're gonna craft equipment and clothes. I'm gonna walk a little farther away. Sorry, there's like a boar right there. I don't want him aggroing. We're gonna go to tools, axes, stone axe. And we're gonna craft that. It's just a stone and a stick. Oh, I lost my stick. Right. There we go. There we go. And Control E for equipment, and just drop it on either hand. We now have a stone axe. We can chop wood with it. We can chip stones with it in a more energy efficient way. It's just a generally useful little tool that basically every player carries with them until they can make better stuff much later in the game. Let's pick more of this bark here. Now, a tip I want to teach you. I'm not going to do it personally on this playthrough, but it is very useful and I recommend that maybe you should do it. If it's your first time playing, I really recommend it because the LP gain from it is fantastic. You can go to your icon settings, which is right here. There's no hotkey for it. It's right above your mini-map here. And on these icon settings, ooh, this menu is way uglier if you don't have a special Oh, man, that's a mess. Okay, this is a lot better if you have a custom client like Ender Client, which you can get for free on the Steam Workshop if you're playing this on Steam, which you probably are. You can pick what icons do and do not show up on your map here. I recommend you turn on every single tree and bush and rock, and that you only turn them off after you have collected from them, so that you know whenever you've seen something new and you can get more Discovery LP from it. I will not be doing that because I'm playing this on the regular client right now. Something you want to keep an eye out for, by the way. You see this? This is a squirrel cache. Cache? Probably cache. I can just grab a whole ass squirrel out of here. Now, if you hold shift and you left click, that transfers things from one inventory to another. So that's quickly transferring it into my inventory. And already, look at that. Beech nuts, chestnuts. I can eat these. They're not great food, but you could craft with them. And a whole quality 30 squirrel, which is about the highest a squirrel can be, I think. We're gonna right click that and wring its neck. Yeah, that was gruesome. But we got LP for it. We're also gonna flay it. You can only do that if you have a sharp edge, so the axe is letting us do this. We can also clean it to get the entrails out, and we can butcher it to get the bone and the raw squirrel meat. I'm gonna drop the entrails. We don't really have a use for that right now. And we're gonna keep moving. So we got some hide, we got fresh squirrel tail. So here's a pro tip. Oh, toad. We can grab that and put him back down just for some LP. You're gonna be hearing that sound effect a lot when you're in early game, by the way. So, you're noticing we're accumulating a lot of items here, right? What do you keep? What do you not keep? Really the answer is you don't keep a whole lot, not this early in the game. We're gonna be a nomad for probably more than a full day of playing. Can't I walk through these piles of leaves and sometimes they drop something? Yes, check it out. We have discovered perfect autumn leaves. This is a fall thing. Sorry, that boar was sneaking up on me there. Wait, did I? Whatever. No, I'm just getting out of there. Yeah, there was a boar sneak up on me. I'm not taking a risk with that. Okay, I think we've decided that east is our direction. Just noticed something funny. You see how there's a burrow right there, and it looks like there's some tilled land. It's very specific, very intentional. Yeah, a player probably tried to make a base there, not realizing how dangerous it is to live near a spawn zone. I'm actually surprised we haven't been just running into hearth fires left and right. But we're walking. Okay, so what are we holding on to? Well, seeds, stuff like that, we really don't need to hold on to. Flint, rocks, don't really need to hold on to that either. These are things that aren't going to be majorly useful to us for a long time. If you look over here, clearly someone was trying to accumulate a bunch of logs here, and that must be their hearth fire. And they probably gave up on the game or got annihilated by players. Hello, I am Gay Weed Mommy, your neighbor to the south by the little lake. Yeah, this community's got some interesting names. This is a random experience event. Oh, no, I don't like how the boar's getting close. I'm gonna keep walking. We'll go in a different burrow. Maybe I can get away with going in that one. These happen when you experience random things in the game. Experience is what keeps you from just studying things and being AFK at all times. Oh, hey, would you look at that? Someone made, now that's interesting. So they made a tub in here. So someone at some point was trying to tan hide in here, but it was probably robbed. I'm noticing there's no dreams I can get out of this dream catcher. I don't know if that's because it's someone else's. I think usually you can get dreams out of someone else's dream catcher. And I would have loved to have picked up a dream, but I'll be making a dream catcher later anyway, probably at the end of this episode. We can go back to throwing out some stuff. I don't need like a random chestnut that badly. This is intelligence, this is strength, it's saying on it. Okay. I don't need these little bits of tree for the most part. Sorb apple, I don't need charisma, that's not very important in early game. Random berries and seeds that aren't even edible. I'm gonna keep the bones for now, although I will get better later, obviously. Ah, we see an opportunity. There's a squirrel over here. Something worth pointing out, you can right-click things on the mini-map. So if I right-click the bunny, I'm walking after the bunny. If I right-click the squirrel, I'm walking after the squirrel. I'm gonna set myself to run, which the buttons for speed are up here in the top left. I got stuck on a tree there. That sucked. Okay, I had to right-click him again. Things will stick you sometimes. And careful when you're running. You gotta pay attention to where you're going, especially on the mini-map, to make sure you don't run into a boar. You'll notice I'm very slightly faster than... Good, he's running to grassland. I'm faster on grassland. See? Got him. Now, he's only a level 1 squirrel, you'll notice. That's pretty bad. Why? Why is he a level 1 squirrel? Because my survival is only level 1. And survival is the hard cap for the quality when you're hunting. It is for a lot of picking things out of the wild, actually. Oh, look at that. I'm gonna shift right-click. Ah, that's just a client thing. Okay, I had to manually right-click each one. What I picked up here were some grubs. Quality 1, of course, because survival. Grubs can be used for some good early game food to get your energy back. What is energy? Okay, happy you asked. Stamina is your short-term labor energy, right? You get that back by waiting or by drinking water or any other liquid, but probably water. Your energy is the bar next to it, which is kind of your long-term energy. If stamina is your short-term energy, energy is your long-term energy. That gets expended whenever you are, apples. That gets expended whenever you are using your stamina. Oh, I have an opportunity to show you something. I'm gonna drop a few things just to make some room. And I'm gonna go grab that hedgehog. Oh, he's pretty fast, but I'm a little faster. As long as my stamina holds out. If it runs low, then you drop to a lower speed. I just got him. He got stuck on the rock. That was beautiful. Oh, there's a wolverine up there. You can see it on the mini-map. Wolverines are incredibly dangerous. Don't go that way. Do I know where a gap across this river is? So when you look at rivers, you see where it's got that deep blue? We are looking for the light blue. The light blue is shallow and you can cross it. Now, I already have here we go. There's a crossing point there. I already have a lot of this map filled out here because, you know, I've played this world for a year. But normally you'd be unlocking the map as you walk. By the way, and this is a pro tip that I think is important to tell you now, in case you don't make it to the end of the episode. At the end of the episode, I'm going to give you guys some advice for if you're a YouTuber or a streamer. I've been doing YouTube and streaming for 15 years full-time, and it's my full-time job and everything. And I've also been playing Haven and Hearth since it was about a year old. So about 11 years, a little over 11 years. This game is very dangerous if you're a YouTuber or a streamer. I highly recommend you absolutely never show your mini-map, or even worse, your full map on your on screen. Don't show it on stream, don't show it in videos, because if someone really wants to, they will track you down from that. And there are players who have a lot of fun tracking down players who do YouTube and streams, and they want to ruin their fun. They've been doing it to me for over 11 years. They've done it to everyone else you can think of. I met the guy who once bragged about being the guy who got Pro Jared to stop playing this game. I don't know if he was right, but that was like 11 years ago that happened. I don't know, some people get their jollies doing that. That's the thing about Haven, is everyone you meet is either awful and won't say a word to you and is just there to ruin your life, or they're some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. The dynamic range in Haven is wild like that. A pro tip I should give you, by the way, is every time you see a new player in the wild, immediately right-click them and memorize them, no matter what. Unless they're like running at you with a weapon, then I can understand why maybe you're not doing that. But if they're killing you, memorize them anyway. You want to memorize every player because it won't show you their name, but it will put question marks over their head so you'll know you've seen them before. And if you go in your kin list, which is right here, they'll appear in here and you can color code them. So if they're a thief, you could maybe color code them red to tell you that, hey, this person isn't to be trusted. Whereas if they were friendly to you, maybe you color them green or blue so that you know, okay, that guy's friendly, you know? Here's our crossing. Ooh, yeah, that crossing's not gonna work, actually. That just brings us to other dead ends. Oh my god, I remember this area. Like, way better than I thought I would. Wow. This is the kind of area you kind of needed a boat. Oh, no, didn't mean to hit old camp. Hey, I lived here 1,000 years ago. We got wrecked there. Ooh, we got hunted so bad at that base. Right, I don't think I want to cross here. Here's the thing. You're going to be running into a lot of dead ends as you play. That's pretty normal. That might be a... No, that's not a crossing spot. I guess we're going down here then. You can left-click on your mini-map to walk places, by the way. And your mega map? Your full map? Anyway, we caught a hedgehog earlier. If we open our character sheet and go to health and wounds, oh no, we've been quilled. This happens when you pick up a hedgehog. It happens less often if you have gloves. I don't know if it doesn't happen at all if you have gloves, but I know it happens less often. But we got quilled. Wounds can lower some of your stats. I think it can lower dex, but we might already be at the lowest it can be. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. But it's lowering our max health. You can see our health up here. It says 96, 96, 100. Okay, what the hell's that mean? Well, the first number is your current health. So 96. The second is your current health cap, which is also 96. Why did that get lowered? Because we have a wound. We've been quilled. I think quilled just heals over time. Some things need medicine, some things heal over time. Oh, there's a cliff here. Cliffs are a little finicky, but if you double click up them and down them, you can jump up and down them. There is no fall damage in this game. You can scale any height of cliff. It's really recommended that you use cliffs as a way to get away from animals. Animals can't handle cliffs. I think I see a snake. That's a snake right up there. You see it? Very hard to see. Looks like this on the mini-map, that little face. Do not go near a snake. They're very dangerous. Hey, that's an active... Oh, no, it might not be active. The animals are all sitting down and the door is left open. Yeah, it's probably a decayed base. If we go to display village claims, personal claims, and provincial claims, here we go, I'll turn off provincial. You can see that there is still an active claim there. You can tell that the player is currently offline because their hearth fire is a pale kind of teal green rather than a full bright green like they would be if it's online. Now, this place is not safe. It looks like it's been raided. It looks like it's probably been abandoned. Am I allowed to walk on it? I am allowed to walk on it. So they've left this abandoned. You can see the wall has been shattered. This part, it's not a very safe place to have. You can see there's 2 graves where their previous characters probably died. Shoutouts to Octer and Stet. Sorry, dudes. You can pick this place clean if you really want it. There's a lot of ruins of old players' bases you'll find, and you could pick them clean if you really want to. But, yeah, I think it's fine. I think for the sake of this tutorial, I'd rather just wing it, you know? I like that I got to show that, though. That there was once a player who lived there, and I don't think they're active anymore. They're probably waiting for the next world. Which, at the time I'm recording this, is in exactly a month. I've been working on these for a while. So we're gonna walk away. You can see this terrain here is all rocky. You can run very fast on it. You'll see in the top left, the top speed is not grayed out. It's grayed out if you're on forest terrain, because the grass is thick and the tangled roots and whatnot. But if you're on like a flatland or a grassland or stone or something like that, then you probably do have sprint speed, not just run speed. And also, running on flatland doesn't really take a crazy amount of stamina. Later in the game, when we have basically infinite water, carried around on us to keep getting our stamina back. Once we hit that point, we're not really going to worry much about, not going to worry a whole lot about running or not running to preserve energy. You'll see on the minimap 1,000 stones, sorry about that, but you'll also see on the minimap a fox. Keeps popping in and out of view. Foxes are not hostile. Now, this isn't like World of Warcraft, where if you walk near a hostile monster, it will always attack you. There is a chance that they will attack you as long as they are within a certain range of you. And the longer you linger in that range, the more likely that, yeah, they're gonna finally attack. So, don't get close to hostile monsters. Not early in the game. I say monsters, they're animals. We have a little cave here. Underground is a big part of... Nope. Sorry. First of all, there was a little base in there, which is fine. It's probably abandoned. But 2, the reason I backed out early, I saw a bat right in the doorway. Now, a bat would beat us up. A bat is probably the first thing you're going to be hunting this game. But not that bat. I'm not going to hunt that bat. We're not ready yet. And you won't be ready for a good few hours. We're walking in and out of different territories because we're all in spawn zone right now. This is a very late game world. Okay, I'm going to teach you something that you should be looking out for here. This is an anthill. We can raid this anthill because we have hunting. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to craft, I'm going to go to equipment, I'm going to go to tools. Is it under tools though? Ooh, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe it's under tableware. Here we go. Birch bark kukusa. Kuksa? Probably. I'm gonna craft one of these. What is this? Why, this is a cup. This is but a simple cup. I'm gonna ring the neck of that dude so he takes up less room. I got hurt doing that. This is but a simple cup. I'm gonna put on my hot, and I don't need on my hopper. I have a drink button already. I'm gonna go over to some fresh water and scoop it. Why? 1, it's one of our quests. 2, fresh water, wonderful. Gets you your stamina back on the fly. You can even drink it while you're moving, although it slows you down a bit. You always want water. Always, always, always want water. Later in the game, you can get better drinks, of course, but water is always going to be useful, not only for crafting, but also for drinking. So here's what we're going to do. Ants, it seems like it'd be the easiest enemy, right? No, players get beaten up by ants all the time. Don't fight the ants. They won't finish you off if they knock you out, but you are going to get a concussion for getting fully knocked out, and you'll get pretty wounded, and it's going to lower your stats until you've healed. So you don't want a concussion. Well, what are we going to do here? We're going to set ourselves to run, which is the second highest speed. What we're going to do here, I'm going to back off a little. We're going to hit raid. As soon as we reach the anthill, they're going to aggro on us, and we're going to start running away. I'm going to run away to the left, because I know I have room there. We want to run away about 1 full screen of the minimap, so that the anthill is off screen. We're going to lead the ants all the way to us, and then we're going to run past them and all the way back. It'll give us just enough time to raid the anthill, and then we're going to get the hell out of here. All right? So I'm going to show you what this looks like. Close that. Now you'll see they hit me there. That's okay. Because combat, which I'll be teaching you later, it's outside of the scope of this video, the first hit is never going to do anything to you. It's just getting your defenses down. It's not actually hurting you. Okay, now you don't want to go so far that they de-aggro, because we do want them to come to us. I'm going to hit my 2 key, because that's what I said to drink. I said that's what I said to drink. Okay, no, I am drinking. Cool, I just didn't see the progress bar. Unless... Oh, no, it's just not. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, it just wasn't. That's weird. Where are the ants? Oh, here they come. Sorry, they're taking forever. They're probably getting stuck on the terrain. I think they can't climb hills as well. Okay, now we're going to run back to the other anthill while they're over there. Again, you can run through them if you wanted. They're not going to do any serious damage to you if you're just passing through real quick. We're going to right-click on the minimap and hit raid so that we're already targeted on it. And there's going to be a progress bar. I think it takes about 10 seconds, maybe a little less. And you can see these combat menus here. This is not very readable, I know. I'll show you how to read it later. Oh, I know why 2 didn't do anything. I'll teach you in a second. Whoa! Okay, we got 4 discoveries. What did we get here? We got a queen ant, which is a rare spawn. That's great. Now, it's all 1 quality, because our exploration's terrible. Okay, only 1 ant's still following me. I just need to make a little distance. Oh, I don't like that badger. Don't get close to badgers. Badgers will mess you up. Here we go. Okay, we'll lose them soon. We're just having to run in kind of an awkward way. And I'll drink a little more water. There we go. The de-aggroed. Okay, we're gonna get back to walking. Hey, earth fire there. And some waypoints. That's human life. Signs of human life. Which is not surprising that we're finding, by the way, considering, you know. Now, I'm still trying to find a way to go east, because that was the direction I picked. I think I'm actually just gonna pick south. Because at this point, I've been moving more south than anything else, so I think that's the way I'm gonna go. I don't know. I mean, I have reached the bottom of this continent before, and it wasn't totally safe, but you can go to other adjacent areas, you know. If they don't have a reason to hunt you, they probably won't. So don't give them a reason. I'm gonna drop, actually no, I'm gonna eat the red apple, so I get the discovery for the apple core, and then I'm gonna drop it. And I'm gonna grab a chicken. Actually, I think that's a rooster. A hen, which I will ring, and I will pluck, and I will clean, and I will butcher, and I'm gonna drop most of that. I'm gonna keep the feathers. Now, I don't see any roosters in here. They would be worth their own. And a chick is worth its own because it's a zone item. And if you wring its neck, it becomes a bloody mess, which is, yet again, another discovery. We're getting a lot of LP here. This is nice. So now that we have a decent little bit of LP, let me teach you more. You can see on learning points, we have a lot more than we used to, but we can get even more. We can study. Some of these things are studyable. So like we have ant soldiers. You can see the study time is 2 hours. That's not 2 real life hours. The game runs at triple speed, I think it is. So I think it's like 45 minutes for this. We're going to study that, and it goes into our study area, and we can see that at the end of its timer, we will get 63 learning points from that, and then we could equip another one. You can only equip one of each studyable item at a time. We're also going to start studying this queen ant, which is just a better version, really. Now, how much can we study at a time? You'll see everything here costs, where is it? Mental weight 3. That is how much attention it takes up. How much attention you have is based on your intelligence, which is an attribute. You get that up by eating foods that give intelligence. Okay, so we're studying that stuff now. We also have a perfect autumn leaf. Takes 1 day to study, so in reality it's 8 hours. Gives you over 1,000. That's not bad. Mental weight 12 though, so it's above our pay grade right now, but maybe later. Oh, there's a dead and skinned there's a dead and skinned badger over there, which means a player has recently been here. That's mildly concerning, but not all that surprising. We may even run into a player this tutorial. I might even get killed on screen this tutorial. I kind of hope I do on some level, because I can show you how that works. But it would reset our little nomadic journey, because we don't have our Hearthfire set anywhere else. You can always teleport back to your Hearthfire, but you only have one. Here, let's go down here. Well, we've gone west. Can I interact with this? No? It must not be hooked up to anything. Looks like someone was making a trail along here and probably abandoned it at some point. Oh, there's a base up here. I mean, I'm going to walk right past it. Sometimes it's a little dangerous, but again, we're such early game that I don't really care. For all we know, it could be abandoned. But this is another person's base. You can see I turned that grid on by turning on personal claim. It's this button right above your minimap. Yeah, their wall fell down too. More abandoned bases. Bases near spawn tend to be abandoned. There's a dead boar on the map. You can tell because it's gray on the map. Might just be a skeleton or something. A human player probably killed it though. Boars don't tend to just die in the wild like a fox would. Sometimes you'll find a dead fox in the wild, and that usually means a badger killed it, because badgers and foxes will attack each other on sight a lot of the time. But not always. Oh, I see a mole up there. They're a little annoying to chase, but it's grassland. I'll give it a try. Grassland you can sprint on. Nope, he burrowed. You gotta just see where he pops back up and chase him more. Easier if you have a horse, but sometimes they stop burrowing and you can get them. Let's top up our water while we're at some. Here we go. Never really want to run out. In fact, a lot of players will carry many, many things that hold water rather than just one thing. Okay, we are near some water, so I know that I can get my stamina back. I'm going to chop a tree down. Chopping down a tree takes up a lot of stamina. You're probably going to want water on you. You can see how quickly we're blowing through this. Bigger trees are harder to chop too. And we automatically drink any drinks in our inventory when we're doing labor and we're out of stamina, so that our progress doesn't get reset. That's why it's so important to have this water. Otherwise, you're not going to fell the tree. And he's got to drink more. This is eating our energy to drink it, but that's okay. We get energy back by eating. You can see it says healing, by the way. As long as your energy is green and mostly full, you're healing your max health. Too tired to chop, damn. Let's get some more water. Right, I forgot to explain earlier, why was it I wasn't drinking when I was pressing 2? That's because I was in combat, and the 2 button is reserved for your second move in combat. Now, we didn't have any moves equipped, but that's okay. That's just how that works. That's why that happened. Keep it in mind. Okay, so this has a trunk. We can hit 3, which is the key we hotkeyed to lift earlier, and we can lift it over our head and right-click to put it down. We can also lift overhead and right-click the log itself to pick where we want to put it. We can hold shift and we can mouse wheel to pick our orientation. And we can hold alt, control, shift. I don't know. There's something you can hold to more precisely place it, and I'm blanking. It's not important right now, though. There we go. I chopped a block. Now, I want to make more tools. I want a bone saw. We're going to need some bough for that, of which I don't think there's any on these trees, so we'll just keep walking until we find some. But we can use a bone we got from one of our animals, and we can use a bough to make a bone saw. That's how you carve a plank out of a log. And we're going to use those because we want to make things like buckets to carry water. Buckets are a much better thing to carry large quantity of water than these little birch cups we're making. Another thing we can make is, I don't think I have it unlocked yet. It's probably under clothing, right? Oh, well, clothes and equipment, yeah. I don't have it unlocked yet because I need string, I think. But I want to make a birch backpack. You know what? Now's a great time. This is something we should have done earlier. I'm going to get my exploration up to 5. Oh, 6. We're going to buy that. And we're going to get our survival up to 5. There we go. So we just raised our cap. And we're going to go back to exploration. It's up to you if you're doing exploration or survival first. I like to do exploration first because that's what lets you discover more things to forage for. Sorry the rocks are cluttering up the map icon so much. That's for my other character. So as we walk now, and we have more exploration, there's going to be things we see that we didn't see before. They're always there, they're just invisible, and you can't interact with them if you don't have enough exploration and perception. We're going to start seeing different kinds of string, which are never called string, but it counts as a string-like thing. In the same way that you could use any apple if a recipe calls for an apple, you can use any string if a recipe calls for a string. And I'm going to be showing you what some of those early game strings are. Now, the first forageable we're finding right here, you can see here are blueberries. This is the first forageable you can find. And it's great. I recommend you collect a bunch. What is... Okay, I don't think deer are, like, hostile by default. I hope. I don't remember them being hostile, at least. There we go. We got our first bloob. So this is a early game intelligence fruit. You can see it gives you a little bit of intelligence. I'm gonna eat it now. You can see we got a point of constitution. Now, why, MDB, did you get a point of constitution off eating an intelligence food? Well, now's a great time for me to show you some of the food system. This is a very basic rundown of it. You can see we have food event points. We need 11 to get a new stat point or a new attribute because it's the amount of points you need is equal to your highest stat or attribute. We're gonna eat a bloob and see that we have gained some intelligence food event points. We could also eat an apple. This green apple is worth perception. And we got a point of perception. What happened is the bar filled. The bar doesn't need to be filled as much. It doesn't need a full 11 points if you're eating different types of foods. That is to say, I ate a perception food and an intelligence food. And so the total cost is lower, but I don't know what I'm gonna get. When you fill the bar, it rolls dice on which skill point you get, you know? So I was building up some points for a +1 to intelligence, and I was building up some points towards a +1 in perception. At the end, it rolls the dice, and whatever you have the most of is most likely to happen, but not guaranteed. And that's what happened. We got some perception, which I'm really happy with. Intelligence and perception, both very valuable in the early game. Can I get any more exploration? I need 900, okay. So I see some stinging nettle down here. This is one of the top things you are looking for as a new player, is you're trying to collect a lot of stinging nettle, because this is how you make most of your early clothing. It also counts as a string. Okay, I'm gonna drop some stuff, because we still have stuff we really don't need. Don't get too attached to items early on. I have a bad habit of holding on to too much stuff. You don't need to follow my bad habit. There's no need to hold on to basically anything other than your tools. It makes sense to carry those around, and leather hide. Even if your hides are really low quality, there's a use for those hides later. When you build your first ever palisade, which is your first wall, you can use any quality of hide for that, and it doesn't matter. So hides are something you want to carry with you. And yes, they're just little, like, low quality bunny hides and stuff like that, but there's still value there. The thing about hides, though, is they take a very long time to dry and to collect. So we're not going to be doing any hide work until later. Okay, I'm going to drop this because it's wasting too much space, and I'm going to go max speed and chase the rabbit because we're on grassland. Every rabbit... Oh, okay, I'm going to chase this rabbit. That rabbit is slow, see? Every rabbit runs at a different speed. Some are faster than you, some are a little slower than you. It's very easy to catch rabbits once you've done a credo that speeds up your ability to chase rabbits, which you can get later. Don't worry about credos yet. It's also very easy to get them once you have horses, but by the time you have your own tamed horse, rabbits aren't that useful to you anymore. Okay, so Spindly Taproot is over here. I saw it on my mini-map. There it is. This is another string. You want to collect it. And I see more nettle over there. You can see forageables are fairly common. This is a clay flat over here. That's why there's a bunch of little pits in it. People were digging there. You'll get red clay out of that, or acker clay, I think it's called. I don't know if that's how that's pronounced, though. You'll notice my grasp of the English language is not the best. Okay, we have too much junk right now. Here's what I want to do. Clothing, shirts. We can do nettle shirts. I don't know why we can't do nettle pants yet. Or is that a different category? Here it is, pants. Another reason why you want to have you want to have a better client than the default client to run the game in, by the way. You can store multiple crafting things and swap between them. It's really useful. I'm gonna go get that berry. Okay, so as soon as we've gotten these chanterelles, never had to say that out loud, some kind of mushroom. Once we forage that, we'll have the beginning of foraging done, which is a lump sum of LP. I don't think it's a crazy amount, but it's some. Looks like there's a base up here. I'm gonna drop... Oh, just some random nuts. I don't need that. I just heard a horse walking. You could hear the clip-clop of the hooves. You get used to all the sound effects in this game. We're nearing the 1 hour mark of the total recording. However, I think I do want to go a bit longer. I haven't gotten that far yet, and 20 minutes of that was the tutorial. So I want to still show you a little bit more. Let me scroll my notes a little bit here. 45-degree angle, I explained early LP, early discoveries, the mini-map, the icon panel. I've shown you the tutorial quests, although I should show you a little bit more of that. I have taught you the hotkeys. I have not yet taught you how to make clogs. Let's do that the next time we see a fallen over log. I also haven't shown you how to make a spruce cap, so let's do that now. We also need to make an axe. There's so many little things we could be doing. Let's get a bone saw here, because this tree is a spruce tree. So what am I going to do? I'm going to wring the neck of that bunny so that it wastes less inventory space. And we're going to drop... I mean, I don't need random ant larvae. They're good for bait when you're fishing. I don't really need them. Okay, we're going to stack a little bit of this. We're going to craft our saw and put it right on our other hand so that we can saw with it. We don't have any knocked over logs, but, you know, we'll find some. And here we go. Here's an old log. So there's some things I can teach you with this. This is an old trunk. You can open them, and sometimes people put stuff in them, but rarely. It can be a little bit of emergency storage, but anyone can open these, so someone could rob you from these. What you can do, though, is chop them into blocks, and there's several valuable things you can do if you chop them into blocks. First of all, a block of Mirkwood can be used for some early game curiosities that you can study. They're craftable ones. You see, if we go to curiosities, you can craft things. Now, we don't have all the stuff to craft that yet. You can see all these other things we can craft because we've picked up the ingredients. To craft something, by the way, you need the associated skill, but you also need to have harvested every ingredient at least once so that you've discovered them. And that's how you unlock the ability to craft something. So we can also right-click it and split it in our inventory, and it will turn into a stack of branches. Now, the branches themselves aren't all that useful, but with these Mirkwood, which is the old logs, sometimes when you split it, you get woodworms. Woodworms are great fishing bait. You can also make them into grub, which is a high-energy, easy-to-make food if you just desperately need energy. But you don't really need them right now. It's more so probably useful for fishermen. And fishing is outside of the scope of the first hour. You'll be learning that in the rest of the series, which you should, of course, check out in the playlist linked in the description. We see a dandelion over here. This is a very easy, cheap early game thing we can study. I don't like there's a boar. I don't like that there's a lynx. We're going to try and get some distance from them. I also don't like that there's a huge base right here, but like it's probably abandoned. That looks like a good base too. They got, they have like good crops and they have like metal chests and stuff. So they have to have discovered metal, which is a big deal. Not that it's like the hardest thing in the world to do, but it's a big jump in what you're capable of doing. Do I have any ticks on me? No? Okay. I'm checking because I'm going through some tangle? I think that's what they call these areas. You lose energy when walking through them. It's these like weird spindly trees, and you sometimes get ticks while walking through them as well. Ticks slowly eat away at your health, and they live in your inventory or in your equipment screen. Leeches work the same way. You get leeches when you walk through swamps. Leeches have a lot of uses though. I see a dead boar on the map. Yep, right in the water. It's been skinned already. Must be a player's. Good resin is a dud resin. Yeah. There's a lot of Russian players. A lot of players don't like the Russian players either. It's not a recent event thing. It's that's since the game was new. So we're getting raw wild pork. We're not going to keep any of this stuff. I'm just doing this for the discoveries. But we're butchering this corpse. There's no reason for us to keep any of it right now, really. There's a lot of meat on boars, though, as I'm sure you can see. Now, we're dropping this in water. If it was deep water, it would disappear. There we go. We learned the discovery beast ring, because we found some fine bone. We got their tusk, you can see here. In fact, let me start studying this dandelion. They're super weak, but they study really fast, and they only have 1 mental weight. That was the only tusk he dropped? Okay, I think sometimes they drop 2, but sometimes they only drop 1. Beast ring is a pretty cool item. Right here. All you need is string and 3 fine bones. A tusk counts as a fine bone. You make a pretty sweet piece of jewelry that increases strength and I think a few other things. But I don't expect you to go making those very early in the run. Okay, let me check my list here real quick to make sure I'm not forgetting to tell you about something really important. Here we go. This is a great time to tell you about this. Oh, I should have made clogs out of that one log. That's right. Oh, whatever. It's not a big deal. I can do that later. So, there's certain things you should be looking out for when you're on your big quest of wandering and wandering and wandering and wandering and wandering. Wow, that's a big base. I don't like that. Let's go left, Western man. Okay. We're going to go this way. So, things you should be looking out for while you're in your nomadic phase of the game. Okay, I got a list here. Here's some things to look out for. You want birch bark from birch trees for backpacks and cups and what have you. You want reeds. If you find reeds in shallow water, you can collect that. You can make a belt out of it, which will let you carry an extra tool without eating up inventory space. You can also use it as string, I think. No, that's cattails. You can find anthills. Anthills have just good studying things like these ant soldiers and the ant queen, which of course, as you get your survival up, will be worth more than they were before. Quality matters a lot in this game. I'm gonna walk over here. So you want to look out for anthills, raid them often. I'm still walking a lot because I'm trying to keep things moving and show you a lot, but I do recommend you stop for those anthills. You want to look out for grasshoppers because roasting grasshoppers over an open fire is a very easy source of agility in early game. Agility can be a little bit annoying to get in the early game, and it is debatably the most important stat for combat. So you do want to start getting it up. You should also be looking out for squirrel caches. Caches. I showed you that earlier. They look like those little tiny burrows. You can right-click on them. They'll have nuts. Sometimes they have squirrels in them. And sometimes they have perfect squirrel hair, which sounds weird, but it is a good early game thing to discover. Is there another dead boar over here? I don't even see... Oh, it's up there. Let's go get that. Someone's been hunting. I guess they just want the furs because they're leaving all the meat. Well, I'll gladly take the tusks. Again, I can make beast rings. And if I end up getting a beast ring super early just because of this, and that's sweet. When you're playing, don't expect to be running into a bunch of boars, by the way, that are dead. This is pretty uniquely late game thing to be constantly finding dead animals like this. And this is only because we're near a spawn zone. Okay, yeah, okay, did we get... Okay, we have 3 tusks! We can actually make a bee string. I didn't have that on my list of things to do on the first episode, that's for sure. There we go, a bee string. I will put it on. You can wear 2 rings. I know, you have 5 fingies, you can only wear 2 rings. Balance. Strength and agility, not bad. And you can gild to it, which I will be teaching you how to do that later. That is outside of the scope of this video. You're going to be hearing that a lot. There's a whole lot of depth to this game that you will not be reaching in the first hour or so. That's how it is. Okay, other things to look out for. Swamps. You want to look out for swamps. If I see one, I'll show you what it looks like. A swamp is a great place to get a lot of things you can study early. Oh, that's a ladybug. We want that. We're going to turn on running. Oh, it's going down the hill. Oh no, it's going to go over the water. We move slow in shallow water. I want that ladybug. Once you've right-clicked it, you're locked onto it, but oh, I don't know if we... Oh, hold on. If it's coming back our way. Get that ladybug. Come on. It's something we can study. Oh yeah, go over the sand. We can sprint on sand. Even though sprinting on sand in real life is brutally hard. Oh, come on, come on, come on. This is brutal, man. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, that was close. Whew. Okay, we can study that. Cool. I'm gonna keep going left. These little water dudes, by the way, you can get them, but like they're just gonna outrun you if you're walking after them. Once you have a boat, you can collect them really easy. Okay, other things to look for. You want to look for swamps because they have dragonflies, which are a great thing to study, pretty easy to collect. When you walk through swamps, you'll be slowed down and you will be getting bit by leeches, but as long as you keep the equipment screen open so you can drop the leeches as they appear, you're not in any real danger. There's a lot of things you can collect in there that are great. You can also do a lot of foraging in there. What else? Swamps, squirrel caches. Oh, mushrooms. You want to collect a lot of mushrooms as you find them, which I just saw one right here. These yellow things are one of the mushrooms we can find that will finish this foraging quest. So how much LP are we going to get for this? We have 1,535. Okay. We got, I think it said 180 there for the discovery, and then another 1,200 for completing that quest. Check your quest log and character sheet. Yep. Wisdom. Yep, I'm here. Click that, and that's just to acknowledge that you have found this screen more than anything. Ways of the Wild. Pick a branch. Right click a tree. I mean, I've done that before, but I'll do it again now. There we go. Lift an object. Okay, well, there's nothing really I can lift right here. I could chip stones to be small enough to lift, but I don't think any of these are small enough. Okay, tuft of squirrel's finest hair. Mental weight only 2. Now, we don't have enough room for this, actually, like in our study thing, but we will after not too long. So I am willing to drop things. Okay, stack those. Sometimes things of different qualities don't automatically stack, but you can still stack them. So I'm going to grab this. I'm also going to just pick up anything and just drop it on the ground, because if I've never had it before, that does count as collecting it, because it was from a natural source. So, you know, just more LP. I'm going to go ahead and top up my exploration to 10 now, and we're going to bump our survival to 7. You can see it's pretty quick progress, actually, on this. I'm still collecting more strings, because strings are used for a lot of things. Again, spindly taproot and stinging nettle are 2 of the most common early game strings. You're going to need a lot of them for a lot of things. So I do recommend that you hold on to them and come up with things to make out of them. A lot of the early game curiosities, in fact, are made of string. For instance, 1 stinging nettle, 1 taproot, and then 6 of any kind of string. It's 8 string total, and this makes you a horrible knot. This is something you can study. Does it take a long time? Yeah, kinda. Is the LP good? Yeah, and the mental weight's not too bad either. So there's early game curiosities you could be making that aren't too hard to make. Cone cows are a very popular early game one because the mental weight's only 1 and the study time is like 20 minutes. It says 1 hour, but you know, it's cut in a third. It's just 4 sticks and then like a pine cone of any kind. Very easy to make a cone cow. The first time you craft anything, by the way, counts as a discovery as well. So you don't just get the LP from studying it, you also get it from the first time you crafted it. Toys, a toy chariot. It's not bad. but you don't have a kiln to fire things, and you don't want to go making a kiln while you're still nomadic, so no point. Okay. Well, oh, more stinging nettle. How much nettle are we at? We're at 3 total. We need 4 for pants, 5 for a shirt. Now, I don't care about the quality of them right now. Later on, the quality will matter more. But I'm gonna make the pants right away. Oh, I can make a birch bark backpack. Cool. I'm gonna open that up. Do I have enough bark? No, actually, I need another bark tree. Okay, a bark tree, a birch tree, a bark tree. Okay, I'm going to go to. Oh, someone looks like they were making a camp here once. Didn't look like it got very far. You can see a dilapidated oven where they were baking. This is a kiln where they were firing clay. It looks like they even have ball clay in here. They had it all fueled up and everything. But looks like this place was abandoned. Yeah, their house is in decay. There's no dreams in their dream catcher. Their farm looks raided. See, the thing is, they never made a wall by the looks of it. That or there was a wall here a very long time ago. What's the stone say? Psalm. Oh, it's a biblical thing. Sorry, not my forte. And we can see his house. It was probably picked clean. Yeah, you can see lots of random little bits and bobs. It can be interesting exploring the ruins of some old player. Maybe the player who built this place one day will watch this video and will comment down below and give us a little bit of the history. I love stories like that. Hey, if someone who lived in one of these locations ever watches this video, by all means, in the comment section, tell me about your file. Tell me about how your life went this world. Tell me about how the place fell apart and why and what happened. Were you playing with your friends? Did you lose interest? Did you get raided? Do you remember who raided you? What happened? I want to know. A big part of this game is the stories that you tell with your friends, you know? There's a boar kind of close by. He's over there. Oh, oops, I didn't mean to drop that. Let's drop the grub stack. Because I want the hedgehog fur. Hold on, let me flay it and clean it and butcher it and drop shit. Here we go. Because I just want the leather. That's all I care about. Okay, oh, birch tree. Let's go make that backpack. So backpacks are very, very important. This is the worst backpack in the game, but it's still much better than no backpack. The next best one we can make is out of leather, and you're not going to have actual leather for a while. So we're going to craft this right away. And we're going to put it straight on in our inventory here. And you can see we got another column to our inventory, which is a pretty big deal. Oh, I want to go back and get that stinging nettle. We still need a lot of stinging nettle at this point. And speaking of needing a lot of stinging nettle, we're going to go to pants. Now, I actually had enough nettle a moment ago, but I let it use my nettle. I should have probably just let it use my spindly taproot instead. But we're collecting both. It's fine. Okay, we have 4 nettle. I'm going to craft some pants. And go back to getting this taproot. So we're going to put the pants right on. You can put on 2 pairs of pants and 2 shirts, because these are thin. Now, one is an armor slot and one is a clothing slot, but if you're not wearing armor, then you can just put on 2 layers of clothing. Why would you do this, you may wonder? Well, nettle pants actually give you agility. It used to be a debuff back in the day, but it gives you a little agility. And I want to teach you 1 or 2 more things before we end the video, because I think we're wrapping up soon. Oh, you can see stockpiles someone made here. You know what? I should teach you some stockpiles. And I should make a clog while I'm here. Because I think all that requires is carpentry, which, did I take carpentry yet? I will check. If I look at my skills, carpentry. I have it now. So if we go back into our clothing and equipment here, do we have shoes? Tools, headwear, equipment, boots and shoes, clogs. We need 2 logs, okay. Here we go. Where did... Oh, there they are. Cool. We now have clogs on. Now, clogs don't give any stats by default, but you can guild them. I want to show you how to guild something, because I think that is within the scope of this episode. We are going to go ahead... So we want to go to clothing and equipment, and we want to go to equipment guilding. We can add squirrel pouches, which is a tiny bit of extra inventory space, not really that valuable. The main things you make early on are usually taproot lacings. It's just a little bit of water and a taproot, which you get all the time. And you make a taproot lacing. And this gives you this taproot lacing, which you can attach to something to have a boost of 2 to your skill. This is survival skill for a taproot lacing, which is obviously very valuable to you early in the game. This is the most common early game lacing. We're going to immediately attach this to something, but I can teach you a bit about this. It says here, as gilding, 45 to 95% chance, and then it has the survival icon next to it. What that means is if that icon matches the icon of your clothing, like how this nettle pants is survival clothing and has the icon next to the gilding, then there's a chance that when you gild it onto the item, it will not take up a gilding slot and you can gild more. There's a 3% chance because quality's low. This is why you have a good tailor later in the game, because they're better at this. But you can see we have now added a +2 survival boost to these pants. You're going to want to get 2 pairs of pants, 2 shirts, your clogs, and you're going to want to make a spruce cap out of spruce bow. That will get you a whole lot of survival and or exploration, depending on what you use. Some players like to dig up tree stumps. Sometimes you get roots out of that you can use for a gilding for exploration. And again, I generally find the exploration a little more useful than the survival early on, although both are very vital. There's a lot of skills that most players don't ever get, because if it's not part of a profession that you're focusing on, it's just not all that useful. Maybe if you're a nomad or a hermit, you're going to be doing a little bit of everything, but for the most part, people specialize in this game. When it comes to survival and exploration, though, everybody should have it. They're just core skills for everybody. This is another abandoned base. Are you seeing why it's dangerous to be anywhere near a spawn zone, by the way? Because you know most of these had a tragic backstory. Beautiful stone they used for that wall, by the way, that nice teal stone. Every stone you use has a different look for buildings and whatnot. Okay. I've shown you gilding. I think it's time that I show you, as a wrap-up to this episode... Oh, hold on, can I take this? What is that? That is fur. Okay. And a cone. And of course, I should have been collecting a lot more of this tree stuff the whole game. I'm assuming that you are. I really recommend that you do. The reason we're collecting mushrooms, by the way, I forget if I specified earlier, is for mushroom spits. You make them out of sticks and mushrooms, and I think you do them at a fire. And they're just very valuable. It's early game perception food, which I already stressed to you how important early game perception is. Okay. Now, this is not by any means a super safe location or something. We're not going to be living here. We're still very clearly quite close to where players spawn. We still see, everywhere we walk, we see signs of player life. We see tombstones. We see half-built things. We see a half-built stockpile, right? Like if I take an item, and most items you can do this with, if I take a single item on my mouse and I right-click, it's now a stockpile, and I can place it. And these never decay, and I can like shift right-click a stack of things onto it. And you can see I can hold up to 250 leaves there, and also shift right-click it to grab everything out of the stack. We'll do more stockpile stuff later. You can see it completed a tutorial quest there, actually. Is that a stag beetle? That's a stag beetle. I'm gonna Control R to run. And grab that, because I believe it can be studied. It can. Mental weight's way above my pay grade, but maybe one day. I might throw it away at some point. We'll see. Gonna keep going west, because it seems like west is the direction I've been able to consistently go. Okay. Again, this is not the safest location, but I do actually want to teach you how to protect your stuff a little bit. I said before that you don't really have the ability to protect any of your stuff, right? That anything you have right now that's not directly in your inventory could just be taken. You know, any random player can walk by and they can go in your containers and take things out of it, and there isn't really anything you can do about it at the beginning of the game, because you don't start off with the ability to fight, and even if you did, that's a crime to attack someone who took something that was out in a public chest or a public container. So instead, we need to have a way of claiming ownership, and there's a few ways to do that. The first is making a claim, but we can't do that yet. That's going to be on day 2 or 3, maybe, making a claim. We'll see how the 7 Days a Stranger series goes. Yes, I'm naming it after an old Yahtzee game. I thought it was very clever. Because if you're a nomad for 7 days and you're a hermit for 7 days, then surely you are 7 Days a Stranger. What we're going to do here, we want to build. Now, I always have to remind myself what this is under. Here we go. This is what it's under. Build, buildings and construction, economy and extensions, lean-to. Now, this is made out of bow, string, and logs. And this is your first form of ownership of anything. I don't recommend making one of these super early, just because there truly is not a need to. But I want to show you how to make it because it will become useful. This is your base before you have a base. How many did I need for this? 6? Oh, 6, but I already have a few. Okay. And then I just need a few logs. I need 4 logs. So we're going to chop this into blocks. Okay, now another thing I can teach you. Stockpiles. If you stockpile something next to where you're building, grab those. If you're stockpiling next to where you're building, then you don't need the thing in your inventory to build it. You can see I don't have blocks in my inventory, but because it's right next to it, I can build anyway. This is our first lean-to. Now, the lean-to itself doesn't really do anything, but you have ownership of it. That means if you were to make a container under the build menu, let's say we make, wicker basket is just sticks, right? Sticks or any kind of wicker. Okay, we'll just do branches. 4, 5, 1, 2. Come on, I need more. 3, 4, 5. Cool. And we're going to use that to make a wicker basket. Cool. The wicker basket, very small container. We can't keep much in here. You can see I can just put a few things in, saves us a little inventory space. The magic of it, though, because anyone could walk by and steal this, you hit your lift button, which I hotkeyed to 3, but it's in your adventure menu. I lift it, and I right-click it on my lean-to. You can have, I think it's 2 to 4 containers stored in your lean-to. I forget how many. An unoccupied lean-to, anyone can use, but an occupied one will have a document on it, and that basically means you need the steal skill to be able to steal from this. What this does is it guarantees that no one is going to take this stuff if they're a very low-level new character. This is your basic protection. And considering how low value things you put in a lean-to probably are, considering your early game if you're using a lean-to, the players who have the steal ability probably don't care about anything that you put in your lean-to and aren't going to go out of their way to put themselves at risk to steal from it, because stealing does leave a scent of a crime, and a particularly valorous player may notice that and decide to track the person down. But that's outside of the scope of this video. That's for another day. This is how you protect the basics of your stuff. Now, the other thing we want to do here is, obviously, we want to be able to come back to this point if this is our temporary home. But to do that, we need to light a hearth fire, and we need a dream for that. So the first thing we're going to do is take 5 branches. In fact, I think we need more than that total, but I'll just grab a bunch right now. And we're going to start a hearth fire here. We have the sticks, but we don't have a beautiful dream, so we need to make a beautiful dream. Okay, so for the skills for this, I had to double check what the skills were. You need Will to Power, the Will to Power, which is 200, not too expensive. It's what unlocks the ability to attack, although I don't think you can attack other players yet. And you, through that, can get Hearth Magic, which is another 250. Now that unlocks Hearth Magic, which is outside of the scope of this video. These are spells that are not used very frequently and are very expensive. Don't use any of them in early game. But more importantly, that gives us the build for, under process and production, the Dream Catcher. Now this is important. Dreams are used in a lot of decent little curiosities, but they're also used for lighting your hearth fire. Is there any more? Yes, there is more. Bow. I'm never going to remember to say that right, am I? We need some of that. How many do we need again? Let me see. Oops. 4. Okay. Well, I don't see many trees. Okay, there's one down there. I'll get that one. A dream catcher catches, I believe, up to 2 dreams. It can, like, stockpile up to 2 dreams, and it catches a dream every, I want to say it's about 10 minutes. I can actually double check that on my side monitor real quick while I am setting this up for you. We're going to build this. And that is our dream catcher. It does not tell you when it's full. You just have to right-click it, and it will say that you can collect a dream from it. But right now, we just have to wait for it to actually get its first dream so that I can light this fire. And then I can show you kind of the last things I want to show you during this episode. While I wait for that, and I will time-lapse it if I run out of things to talk about, I do have more things that I can teach you. First of all, the dreams you get are the same quality as the dream catcher, which is, of course, the quality of the ingredients that you put into it. So if you want better quality dreams later, you got to use better quality bow and what was the other thing? String. So you need better quality trees, essentially. Oh, here we go. This is under to be verified on the wiki, but it's harvestable every 20 minutes, which is probably vaguely accurate. I don't need to stay logged in, by the way. If I wanted, I could log out and then log back in 20 minutes. In case you're worried about your safety. You shouldn't AFK in this game if you're out in the wild. I highly recommend you log out and log back in if you're, like, you know, out and about. You don't want to go AFK. Something might happen. I'm checking my notes here, and I want to make sure that there's nothing that I haven't taught you that is very important in this early game step. I can teach you how to make a bucket, which is very, very simple. We already have a saw. All you have to do is knock over a tree. You can saw the log to get a board. You can use a few boards to build a bucket. It's under your equipment tab in your crafting tab. Buckets can be held in your hand, or if it's empty, in your inventory. But you're probably going to keep one in your offhand and have it full of water at all times. Yes, it looks silly, but it's important for refilling your water and carrying a lot of water so that you don't always need to be near a water source to be competent. It's also very important for running away from any animal or player who is slower than you, because you can drink while running. You slow down slightly, but as long as your stamina outlasts their stamina, you'll get away eventually. As long as you play well, of course. I'll have tutorial videos teaching you how to run away effectively later. I know it doesn't sound exciting, but it's vital to your survival in the harsh, harsh world of Haven and Hearth. I've already taught you not to swim. I've already taught you to memorize players. And that means I think we're at the end of my notes here. We're in the last 10-minute section of my notes. I've shown you what a dream catcher is. I've shown you what a lean-to is. I've shown you how to make a hearth fire, but I think I need to show you how to make a regular fire and how to cook a little bit of meat. So, you know, just some very basics of food. So we're going to take some branches, and we're going to go into our smoke and fire section, and we want to build a fire out of 5 branches. So we'll build one right here. We can make, obviously, with stone, a better fireplace that's not expendable later, that we could refuel over and over. But this is just a random camp in the woods. We can just use a regular little fire like this. Now, how do we light a fire? Well, we already hotkeyed light fire earlier. We need 2 sticks, and you want to have full stamina before you have started lighting the fire, or else you'll probably gas out on energy partway through and have wasted it. Now, lighting a fire fails often. It might be frustrating, but this is how the game works. We're going to hit craft, and I have my cursor on top of the fire because as soon as we finished lighting this stick, the flaming stick is going to be on our cursor. So we want to right-click the fire right away to start lighting it. It may burn out quickly, though. I believe it's based partly on your survival skill, but it's normal to have these sticks burn out on you too early, well into the game. We go, we're lighting it. And we got an extra discovery of ash. How did I do that? After I lit the fire, I placed the stick with the left click in my inventory, which burnt it down into a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of ash. I'm gonna throw it, I don't need it, but that was a discovery, so that was LP. Now that we have a fire, we can right click on it, and we can now cook things. Anything that requires a fire, we can cook. So if we go under crafting and food, we could do roast meat, which is any wild meat we have. So we flay this. We now have some raw rabbit meat. We can craft all. The second thing here, by the way, are optional spices. If you have spices, you can make it better quality. This is sizzling roasted rabbit meat. Well, it's still sizzling, it's worth a little bit more. So we're going to eat some of this and see the effect. You can see that gave us a bunch of agility. We've nearly maxed it out. Let's eat a berry. And we got a point of agility out of that. That's pretty sweet. You can see we have 13 total. 1 from the nettle pants, 1 from the beast ring, and 11 just from our base stats, which we've raised by 1. You hear a whisper on the winds. What that means is you've unlocked a quest. You just get them randomly. It'll be to visit random trees. You can see there's an icon down there. I love the timing on that. There's an icon down there telling us where the tree is. We're not going to do that quest right now because we're still in kind of nomadic traveling mode and we're not going to stay in the area. And you can abandon quests you don't care about later. What I recommend you do at this point in the game is keep traveling in whatever direction you pick, and you want to complete all of these little quests because they are worth LP. So we can use the destroy command on a tree stump. Your commands are always in your adventure menu here. You can use an axe for that, but a shovel does a better job. Pottery. It wants you to construct a kiln. Don't worry about that this early in the game. We're going to worry about that in a couple days when you actually have a little base. Firecraft, by all means, construct a fireplace out in the middle of nowhere. Do all these things. It's not high priority, it's not low priority. Do it when you want to. Lumberjacking, easy. Wave the Wilds, this is all stuff you should be doing pretty early on anyway. Homesickness we can fix at the end, teleport back to your hearth fire. Shifting gear, this is literally place a carried object after lifting it. We're about to finish that. All we need to do here is acquire dried hide and construct a drying frame. We're probably not going to do that this day. That's more of a end of day 1, end of day 2 kind of thing, depending on how much time you have to play today. And we've already crafted one of these, but it wants us to do another one apparently. Oh, we got a raw lucky rabbit's foot. That is a rare thing you can get when butchering a rabbit. It has to be dried like any other hide, but it's a good thing to study. Oh, we have some room. We can study more again. Study. Can I study this? Yes, I'm gonna study that. Okay, that's most of our attention. This is too much, right? Yes, 12. That's more than our max. Okay, that's all we can study that we have right now. But you wanna keep your study report pretty full, you know? Log on often to do it. Don't worry about how tedious that might feel to log on a lot to refresh the things you're studying. Once you have a permanent base, you can have a study table where you can stockpile a bunch of items for studying, and even while you're offline, whenever you finish studying something, it will put the next thing on for you, so you can stockpile a bunch of things to study. That's vital for later in the game when you have a base, but for now, there isn't much to do. So what I'm going to do is teach you a little bit. There's a little bit left that I can teach you. If you wanted to spawn in a friend at this point, you're going to need a wilderness beacon. Wilderness beacon. I'm opening it up on the wiki so I don't forget. Yes, all you need is carpentry, which we do have. You need clay, stone, boards, and blocks of wood. These are all natural things, not too hard to get in the first hour of play. I'd need to knock over maybe a couple trees or one big tree, but that's not that bad, especially if I'm near water and thus easy supply of water to get my stamina back. And you build that. I do believe it's actually an adventure menu thing under Haven and Hearth. It would appear somewhere in there. I think that's where that appears. You might need to double check that. It could change in the future as well. But you make a beacon. It's a built structure. Then you right-click it and you put a password in, and your friend has 1 hour to type in that password at the totem I showed you at the beginning of the game, and then to walk through the fire and spawn in. You'll need 1 wilderness beacon per person that you are warping in. Other things to teach you at this point is safety for YouTubers and streamers. I already told you, never show your map because people will hunt you. That is the absolute most important thing that I can teach you. If you're a YouTuber or a streamer, they will hunt you. If you're actively streaming the game, then it's especially good that you make a little image or something that you're going to be putting over your mini-map and over top of your world map. I'm not doing that because I'm teaching you the game, but yes, this character will die one day because I am showing you the map. This character has quite the time limit on him because I am being reckless for the sake of teaching you the game, which is why this is, of course, an alt character. There's different clients for this game. You can find many of them on the Steam Workshop, so they're very easy to download. And once you've downloaded one, when you go to boot the game up, it will automatically ask you what client you want to use. The most popular client, and the one that I use personally, just not currently, is Ender Client. I highly recommend it. It's very easy for new players to learn. It is chock full of an intense amount of quality of life updates that is very recommended. Don't worry about like, oh, is this cheesy? Is this a cheesy strategy to use? No, every player uses these. It's very rare, actually, that players use the default client. Ender Client's very popular. Hurricane is popular if you're a PvPer. But for the most part, people use Ender. I generally recommend you learn Ender first as your first new client. And if you want to toy with the other ones, by all means, do it at your own leisure. But remember, if someone's trying to kill you, they're using one of these other clients. So you probably want to be on par with them at least. Okay, that's everything that I really need to explain to you desperately this episode, other than that, of course, the 7 Days series is already going to be partly, or maybe completely up by the time you're watching this, and you can check out the playlists in my channel, as well as in the description of this video, if you want to start watching the 7 Days of Stranger series, if you want to see this character that I have made go all the way to eventually having a settlement. And I will teach you how to do it the whole way. You'll see all the trials and tribulations. I'm going to edit it down for time in minor ways so that I don't completely waste your time with it. This was a little bit more of a raw gameplay thing with minor editing. But the last thing I want to teach you is getting a dream and how the Hearth Fire works, because there's some fun interactions with it. Fun interactions that I cannot do for probably 10 more minutes until this dream is done. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit. Okay, we're back. It's been 20 minutes or so, and I went around and just collected a bunch of tree stuff from the local area to get some LP, and we can harvest now. You can see we harvested our dream. That'll unlock some new crafting and whatever for related things, but mostly we need to use it here. There we go. We have a new Hearth Fire, which means if we're ever out in the wilderness and we need to emergency get home, or we're lost or whatever, we can just hit whatever we hotkeyed our travel to Hearth Fire button to, which for me is 0. You will point in the direction of your Hearth Fire, and then you teleport there, and you can do that from anywhere. Oh, and that completed a quest I had, apparently. One last thing to teach you is that if you right-click on your Hearth Fire and receive items, this is your vanity items. These are your vanity items you get for supporting the game over the years. I have a few of them, just from my support of the game over a decade now. I, personally, am a big fan of the Deputy's hat. And so I'm gonna wear it. It's like my signature hat, you know? It's very goofy looking. These are vanity. These don't help you in any way. They don't take up a headgear slot or anything. You can't lose them. If you die with this, it'll just, you know, you can just get another one from your Hearth Fire. You can transfer them to another person's account by right-clicking them on someone, and raiders will try to bully you into doing this because they know that it has real-life monetary value, and you can't just get that back. So they want to bully you out of it. Just say no. Like, who cares if they kill you? First of all, they're gonna kill you either way. And second, they kill you, whatever, you still have your dignity. Don't hand over real-life monetary value things to the kinds of people who are gonna hunt you in a video game. That's my 2 cents. Anyway, now you have your whole little setup here. You have a place you can teleport to. You have some very basic item security. And you know the very basics of the game. If you want to go ahead and learn more, check out the playlists. I have so many videos that I've been making to help you guys learn how to play Haven and Hearth, which is a game very near and dear to my heart that I absolutely love. And until next time, have a nice day.